if you know Gord, you know that he's like really, really gregarious and outgoing, and he's very social, loves to go out, loves to hang out with friends. So he started having trouble sleeping, and he'd wake up early in the morning, go to work really early, and he also wasn't really eating, so he was losing weight. And then what really triggered it for me was when he wouldn't want to go out and see his friends. When it first, like the onset of his depression, it was definitely triggered by his mom's death, because he'd never displayed any symptoms before then. I encouraged him to go see someone, to talk to someone like a therapist, but I think at that point he was still a bit resistant and saw depression or mental illness maybe as a bit of a weakness, and didn't want to almost admit that it could be happening to him. And then I was at one of the breakfasts where you guys had done the videos, and there was a mother whose daughter had shock therapy, and I think she had tried to commit suicide or had suicidal thoughts. And I remember the mother said, you're only ever as happy as your saddest child. And that sort of made me think, I have children, and with Gord having the depression, it could easily be one of my children could have it. And if something could be done to help it, help people recognize the problem and treat it early, so it doesn't end up, with 13-year-olds committing suicide and things like that, it would be nice.
I remember he was in grade 5 one morning, and he was just not feeling well. He was just not feeling well, and he said to me, he said, I wish I had cancer. That way there would be a cure, or somebody would know, there would be a name for what I have. And
when he came back from school, he wouldn't go out with friends. When the neighbors would come knock, Simone, want to come play outside? He'd just stay on the couch downstairs. Sometimes the TV would be on, sometimes it wouldn't. He'd just be sitting there.
At the end of September, he started, it was the worst of it that we'd seen. He wasn't able to go to school.
He just didn't go to school at all.
For about 6 weeks. Yeah, and the more school he missed, the worse it got, because then he'd have to explain why he wasn't in that day, and it took a long time for him to understand that what he had was legitimate, and he wasn't the only one, so.
Yeah, he's better, way, way better. This year it wasn't hard when he started school at all.
No.
Even when we came back from Christmas, it was fine, and he has friends over all the time, and sometimes he gets talks from teachers because he laughs too much in class or talks too much, but he does plays after school and year-end shows, and he's in school
productions,
and sports and things, and it's much better than before.
Mm-hmm.
My first experience with dealing with mental health issues was with my own mother, who suffered from paranoid schizophrenia and associated delusions for most of her adult life. She suffered for decades in an unhappy, deluded existence, trying to manage as well as she could. Almost daily, I am dealing with clients and files where mental health is an aspect to the problem. Not every one of my files, of course, but it's a problem that I'm keenly aware of and encounter almost daily. If employees are not assisted appropriately, I think there's a much greater toll in the workplace than is necessary. The main message for an employer who suspects that there may be a mental health issue, like any other health issue, is to make sure the employee understands the availability of sick leave and is encouraged to use it, to take advantage of it, and to address the problem. I think if there's any message for an employer, it's that, is to understand this is a health issue like any other. Employees are entitled to the benefit of their sick leave if they need it, and they are also entitled to some accommodation in the workplace to assist them in managing the health issue and still continuing to make a contribution, a real contribution often, to the employer's business.
My sister suffered from depression at a very young age, around 14. And of course, we didn't really know the extent of it until later, till she was about 18. I'm not sure when the actual first time was, but she definitely had made an attempt to commit suicide. After that attempt, I never thought, you know, it would ever actually happen, right? It was sort of, you know, I knew she was not well and very depressed at times, but I never thought it would come true.
She tried to go into nursing here in Ottawa, and she was living at home with us at the time. But, you know, she'd make it so far, and then she couldn't do it anymore. Her depressions her mind just wasn't allowing her to do what she wanted to do, which was she wanted success so badly, but she just, the bipolar just wasn't, you know, she was either, you know, rapid cycling or, you know, very depressed. You are just in constant pain. Like you ache so much for your child, who all you want for them is to be healthy and happy, and that just wasn't meant to be for Allison.